Even folks, sometimes tech doesn't work perfectly. How's everyone doing? You all right? And thank you to those who have already jumped in. There's a couple in the chat. Adam Ward, Free Fallen, Stephen Ward, Adiala, Led Zepp, and Michael Brown. Even folks, how are you all doing? You well? So yeah, we're gonna do a Juan. Celebrity in the chat, folks. Even Juan, how's things, mate? Joe's here and Anto's here as well. Hope we're all doing really, really well, folks. We'll do a bit of chat tonight. We're going to dip in and out of it as well. And we're going to just do a kind of a preview for the game. We're going to try and start doing this on a more regular basis. I picked a bad weekend to do it because I won't be here Saturday night to do a review of the Wolves game, but I will try and do it on Sunday if I can. I'm out on Saturday and Friday because it's Paddy's weekend and I'm Irish. So, you know, in for a penny. That's the plan. Tony Abraham's here and Adam Helwick as well. All right, cool. We've got a few people around. If you want to like this stuff as well, you can smash the like button. Smash the like button. I know. I hate saying it. I do. I really do hate saying it. You can gently tap the like button and you can subscribe and all that kind of stuff if you want to help me out. Appreciate that. We're going to go through the press conference in brief and we're going to look at some of the information around Wolves. I did say Wolves presser will be covered here as well. However, Wolves didn't do a presser, did they? So it's just the team news from them. We'll start off then. We'll crack into this and we'll dip in and out with chat as we go. I'll try and keep up with everybody in the chat as well. So we'll start off. Tyler Adams came up and his injury came up in the press conference and basically, Javi was asked about it, and he said that, look, it's a strain at the moment. He's with a specialist. They'd have to wait and see what the severity of the hamstring strain is, whether they then decide to, you know, he's going to be out for longer or needs, you know, any other treatment. And he was also asked about what effect that has on Leeds, and he said, look, Tyler Adams is a different player. He said there's no one else like him in the team. Different skills, different skill set all up, and you miss him. But he did also say that we've started with different combinations of midfielders over the last couple of weeks. McKennie and Adams and McKennie. Probably looking more and more likely to see a McKennie and Rocca one this weekend, which I'm all up for. I'm interested to see that. I did think Tyler needed a bit of a break. I've been saying for about 2 weeks he looks leggy, he looks tired, and he goes and pulls a hamstring. Yeah, it's not great, but every cloud might have a silver lining. This could show us a different kind of balance in midfield. I still think they'll go with a double pivot midfield. We're also going to do a lineup side for side, what the predicted Wolves lineup has been from the BBC, and also what I think the Leeds lineup is more likely going to look like. And we'll look at some key battles that are likely to happen there as well. Javi was asked about the situation at the bottom of the league, where I know we're 19th in the table, but the more I look up the table and see the point total getting tighter and tighter, the less concerned I kind of am, because I think April is going to be a very big month for us, and I think we'll be okay if we do well in that month. So that's going to be an interesting one. He was asked about the tightness at the bottom. He said we focus on our next game. That's all we focus on, and we make sure that the importance of our preparation is on the next game, he said, and we'll see where we are at the end of the season. He said that he knows the remit that he was brought in for was to maintain Leeds Premier League status, and he's working on doing that, and he's confident on doing that, and he doesn't think we'll be relegated, which is nice for the manager to say. I'm quite confident. Asked about a win at Wolves before the international break, and Javi said that the win is important, that we'll have more time to work with the players, and you want to have a really good attitude and a really good feeling around the place when you get into that period, that 2-week break, to work on stuff. And what he did say was a good result against Wolves would allow us to have that good period of time in between in order to get what we need to get from the players. Liam Cooper came up. We did a bit of story this morning in the news. We didn't cover any of this in today's news video, by the way. So if you want to check out the Leeds news video, you can do that as well. That's there on the channel as well. But Cooper was asked about his injury situation, and he said that the fact that he's been called up to the Scotland squad does not mean he's available to play now. And he said he's an important player for Leeds on and off the pitch. We've seen Cooper make some, errors at times when he has been on the pitch, but he's still an important player for Leeds. He's a leader, and you can see that. And Javi is now the 4th or 5th manager that has said his importance behind the scenes is as important as his the attributes he gives Leeds on the pitch. His leadership qualities are huge. Then asked, is he ready? And he said, yeah, he's ready. So Cooper will be back in the squad for tomorrow's game. Unlikely to start, I would imagine, given that the back four have been reasonably steady outside Job's mistake. Be interesting to see there. He was then asked about his relationship or his head-to-heads with Lopetegui, the Wolves manager, in the past. That asked about it in Spain when it was Seville and Valencia. He said different league, different players, different systems, doesn't compare, and you can't compare it. But he did say in terms of Wolves games that his experience of Wolves, that they're a very well organized team. They change their team on a regular basis. It's not the same 11. It's not always the same formation either. It's quite a flexible team and a flexible group, but he expects it to be a very difficult game and one where Leeds are going to be challenged. Pat Bamford came up and he was asked, is he at full fitness? So when can you expect to have him back at 100%? And how important is he going to be? And he said the last game, he said it, Pat was an important player for us, scored a goal and created some chances for other players as well. But he is going to be a big player for Leeds in the running and expects him to be at 100% and giving everything to Leeds in the run into the remainder of the season. Moving on, the interesting one for me was Darko JB, because I'm quite a fan of Darko JB. I like him. I don't think he's ready to start games in the Premier League, especially not the big ones. But I do think there's a place for him on the bench and maybe getting a couple of minutes. Should we be in a position where we can, if we get ahead in the game, it hasn't happened a lot this season, but if we can get ahead and maybe bring a 1-2 on. But he was asked about JB, is he an option? And he said he is an option, but also is Archie Gray. And if you remember correctly, at the start of the season, Jesse Marsh was asked about Archie Gray's positioning. And he said that Eddie, his dad, and himself and Archie see him as a central defensive midfielder. But Jesse saw him as a more of a 10 or an attacking player with creative skills. I think what Garcia is saying about this is very much looking at Archie Gray as a central defensive midfielder. He's very light for that role at the moment, but quality player with quality attributes as well for a very, very young age. But he said those two players are training with the team at the moment and they're both, adding a lot of value. But he said that there's also other players playing in that, training in that role that haven't always played in that role or played in different roles and have now moved into that role in their career. And I'm pretty sure he's talking about Sam Greenwood in that capacity, being an attacking number 10 or a wide player or striker being moved into a CDM role under Jesse Marsh. So he's talked about that as well. But he said there's lots of players that can play there. We've got lots of combinations and lots of options, so not worried about it. Asked about Rodrigo and Bamford being ready for 90 minutes. He said you need to speak to the doctor. Straightforward enough. He's not getting drawn into injuries. Baron Cross loves asking him about injuries. He wants, he's just not giving it to you. He's not giving it to anyone. So, but he did say, you've got more players available now than you've had when you first came in 3 weeks ago. How are you feeling about that now? And he said, look, I have more players. It's better. The more players I have, it's better, but I don't complain. And he said, we have enough players. We have good players, and he believes in these players. They're all players of quality. So he's very confident in the group that he has. There's a lot of Bielsa-isms about him in terms of he takes it on board all himself and doesn't project it out onto anybody else. Stuart Dallas came up. So Barron asked about Stuart Dallas, and he also, not Barron, but Garcia brought Adam Forshaw into the mix on this question as well. And he said that Dallas and Forshaw are both working on their own areas, but away from the team at the moment. And he said there'd been long-term injuries when he came in, and he can't put a date or time on when they will be available to come back into contention for Leeds. Sorry, my eye is itchy. Don't know why. Rasmus Christensen came up, and I liked this. He gets a lot of stick, and he's got a lot of stick this season. And if we're genuine Leeds fans, then the whole side before self thing should matter. It really should. If we're genuine hardcore Leeds fans, side before self isn't a tagline. It's supposed to mean something. And the reason I bring that up is because he was asked about Christensen and about being disappointed that he possibly, he's missed out on the Danish team and not playing a lot of minutes at Leeds, and he'd be disappointed. And he said that I understand players' disappointments and not playing minutes. And he said at the same time, his attitude has been an example to everybody in the club. He said that he comes in, he's helpful, he gets involved, and he smiles all the time. And he said when Leeds were without a centre-back for the Fulham game, Christensen was the first player to put his hand up and say, I'll play there. I'll play anywhere, as long as I can help out the team. And that's very much a side before self mentality, which is great to see from players, especially players that are on the periphery of the team or not getting minutes. It can be very hard not to be, selfish and want yourself and look at yourself in that capacity. Christensen seems to be very much about the team and what the team does. Definitely frustrated he's not playing, but it's not showing in training and it's not showing the manager, and the manager is very complimentary of him. So that's fantastic to see. Asked about the tactics at Brighton, which we all saw a bit of frustration kick in with that. And we saw a very different looking Leeds team and a very different looking Leeds style. And he said that he understands the frustration and he understands the fans want us to press and press and press and get the ball back. And he said, so do I. So do I. But he said that the credit needs to go to the players for sticking to the game plan. We've seen a lot of managers call out players for not, Frank Lampard being an example of not sticking to the game plan. And Jesse did it a bit about referring to players not being brave enough. I think the players showed that they were brave enough to stick to the system and stick to the style. Brighton got another really good result yesterday as well. So it's not a bad Brighton side. To get a point might actually look, at the end of things, might look like a very good point. But what he did say about the system is, I want to play a high pressing system. I want to press teams and I want to win games and I want to go and win them. But I know how this Brighton team play. And I know if we press them in that way, I know what they'll do to us. So it's very much a case of horses for courses. He's looking at the opposition, looking at how to stifle what they normally do. And the mid block they played, the passive press that he played last week was very much a case of, don't let them play through the middle of the park where they like to build up from the back. Don't let them do that. And for most of the game, we did it really, really well. It's got to be said. Yeah, so that was pretty much it on that. He said, I believe in these players. They do what we need them to do to get the right result. But he said it's a different team in every game and a different strategy for every single game as well. So that was good. This is the Bielsa-ism bit that struck me. He was asked about stress and how he deals with stress. And initially I thought it was a silly question to ask, but the answer we got was actually pretty insightful. And I really kind of enjoyed this. He said that he lives with stress. It lives in him. That's what he said. He said that I feel it inside, but I have to help my players and give them confidence to play the way we want to play. And he said, I don't help them if I'm animated on the sideline or if I'm shouting and screaming. I don't help them. He said, I help them by giving them support and focus. And he said, I suffer inside them with my stress. He was asked about what does he like to do outside of football to relaxing and release stress. And he said, I don't have time. 12 hours in Thorpe Arch every single day inside doing prep work and video analysis and all that stuff. And then I'm out on the pitch doing work with the players. Then I go home to the hotel for a couple of hours, speak to my family on the phone, and then I'm back here again. So he is living this role. And we know another man who lived this role very, very much so as well, and really devoted all of his time to getting this right. And Garcia seems to be doing that. I really do like an awful lot what he says. I might not be a huge fan of the style of football we're playing at the moment, but as I said previously, it's a case of effective football over fancy football. We need to get results and we need to do it the right way. And the way he's doing it so far, I know it's only 4 points that he's picked up so far, but look at the teams he's picked them up against. They're not bad. If we can get a result against Wolves, all of a sudden the whole picture starts to look a hell of a lot more positive. It's a big if. It's still a good Wolves side, and it is a big if. And we'll get on to Wolves now. We're 30 minutes into this. I'm just going to actually, before we get to Wolves, I'll jump into chat and just see plenty is chatting away there. I kind of like when you all have to start chatting to each other. Saves me the problem of trying to keep track of it because there's a lot. We'll get past all this. The nice one, Stephen. Nice balanced view on our team situation is always given by you. Oh, I appreciate that, Stephen. Thanks very much. Wow, we've got two of them hopefully coming up. Greenwood in for Tyler. I think it's a possibility. I think they'll go with McKennie and Rocket. And we'll get to that in a minute, though. I would like to see that, but I don't know if I want to see it right now. I think the preseason thing to have a look at. There's too much pressure on it right now. I wouldn't be exposing kids to that just yet. Massive battle at the bottom. McKennie may have to play in Tyler Adams' role, and I'm okay with that. He did it against Chelsea a little bit as well. If you look at the Chelsea game, especially in the first half, the player taking the ball off the centre backs and coming out with it more often than not seemed to be McKennie building the attacks. And he's okay. He's a tidy passer in those areas of the park, and I'm okay with that. More Darko. Yeah, we've talked about Darko a bit. Yeah, it is a really good press conference, Jay, and he does a good job of it. He manages expectations quite well. He doesn't give too much away, which I like that. I don't want oppositions getting a handy one. He's focused in the division match. Yeah, one by one. Let's skip forward a little bit. If I don't get to all your comments, I'm sorry. I'll try to get as many as I can. Forward's greatness in the Midlands debut. That's also I never thought about that, actually, Thomas. That's a really good point. You could see Cooper come back in the left side of the defence and Volberg go into the defence and midfield role. It's an interesting one. Can't take Volberg cock out not to accommodate him, but we've got a gap in midfield. So that's where Thomas's previous comment, Paul, comes in. But yeah, I would agree with both of them. Bamford going to go sprint now. Let's hope so, but we'll temper the expectations. Anto and JB, yeah. They're good managers and they're good coaches. They always have been. Evening, Enzo. How you doing, mate? Or Enzio, how you doing? Champs 20. Jared Adams out. Did you see JB getting minutes? I think he'll be on the bench. I don't think he'll start. I think Archie will come into the team if we're safe. Then we might see him come in. We've seen this before. James Fantastic on 21s. Watching him against Derby the other week just looks ready for minutes in Premier. Definitely an option off the bench. Yeah. His work in the under 21s has been brilliant. His passing range is outstanding, and he's got a fantastic, very similar to Calvin Phillips. I'm not saying he's similar to Calvin Phillips all up, but a very similar passing style to Calvin Phillips. He does see those big diags. Glenn, happy Paddy Day. Thanks, Glenn. It is Paddy Day tomorrow. Fair play to Rasmus. He can come. Yeah, he's a good lad. That attitude is hugely important. If you watch the Brian McDermott interview we did, he talks about attitude being the first thing that people look for in clubs. Yeah, he does. He seems to really believe in the players, Anto, when he said it. Like, you can hear people say things and you go, it's lip service, but the way he says it, there's a passion behind that as well, and I believe him. Yeah, he's been good. We'll skip forward a little bit. Ailing loses his man all the time and just stands still. I think there's another reason for that. I do think Somerville doesn't help him enough defensively. That's the area where I think we possibly should look at a change, bringing on to him for Somerville in the next game. I don't think he will bring him in, but we can look at that. McKennie keeps it simple. Yeah, he does. Yeah, you don't want McKennie on the edge of the opposition box either. That's not his wheelhouse. I hope Wolves don't eat. Let's just hope Wilson doesn't do that poster. Remember Nottingham Forest at the start of the season. Somebody did it with chopping down trees and it just backfired badly. So let's not give them a reason to want to win the game. I wouldn't want to mess with the back line right now. McKennie and for Tyler seems a natural choice. Keep it simple. Yeah, I agree with that. Again, Jacob. I'm just say 4-2-3-1. I think it'll be dependent on Wolves. Do Wolves play a 3-man midfield? Usually play 3-man midfield, so that might dictate it as well. Yes, that could be a possibility. All right, Jacob. That's a very strong possibility. And then keeper in the back four, God help us. Not necessarily. And never support somewhat. I agree with that. Yeah, he needs to just do more. And it's a learning curve for Somerville as well. He still is learning the game. He's still a young lad, so he just needs to do the defensive side of the game a little bit better. And then we know the quality he has going forward. 2 strikers, please. Would be nice to see, wouldn't it? But I don't think we'll see it in this game. Hope for a grand slam on Saturday and Leeds win. Yeah, and hopefully other results go our way as well. Yeah, build a nice partnership at the back. I like the 2 centre backs. They look calm most of the time. We're not getting caught with that pullback, which we were getting caught before. So it's nice to see. We'll move on. We'll talk about what Wolves are looking at. Wolves have lost 3 of their last 6 games. They lost 2-1 to Newcastle last time out, which is, we got to draw away to Newcastle. Again, you look at Newcastle's home results. That doesn't look like a bad result. That's our home games that haven't really helped us. Currently sitting 13th in the Premier League. I think only 4 points ahead of us, though. So a win would put us a point behind them, drag them very much into it, or actually put us slightly above them. Predicted 11 for Wolves. I'll get to that in 2 seconds. Wolves are without several key players. So what they're missing so far, Sasa Kaladic and Diego Costa are long-term injuries, so they will not be involved. Chiquinho may miss the rest of the season with a knee problem that he's dealing with. And they're also missing Hugo Bueno in defense. January signing Pablo Sarabia is also likely to miss out, but though he is described as touch and go. So they're not coming into it with a full-strength squad either by any means. Our bench is getting stronger. Let's have a look at predicted lineups. I'll just play with some buttons here. See what happens if we get this right. And you have to excuse my crude graphics because I'm not a graphics guy. But I do quite like PowerPoint. And here we go. There we go. So if we look at Leeds' perspective, I don't think much will change. And I'm basing this off one thing. I'm basing this off of Garcia's post-match press conference when asked about Somerville's impact and Harrison's game. And he said that he likes both of them and thinks they're important players. That, to me, suggests that he likes what they're doing and is likely to keep them there. Harrison, from a defensive perspective, has been really, really good. From an attacking perspective, for me, he still holds on to the ball a little too much. But I don't see massive changes there. I think McKennie comes in for Adams. I think you'll see Rocket playing the defensive midfield role. And I think Aronson will probably hang on. Aronson's been fine in starting games. Yes, he's a little bit lightweight. And yes, he gets knocked off the ball. But he is a spark and he does help with the press. Harrison and Somerville, I think, keep their places. And Bamford will start up front. That's what I think. I could be completely wrong. It could just be a 1. It could be just a 1 in front and a flat 2 in front of them. Again, he could go with the 4-3-3. Although if you look at this, and I keep saying it, the way we play our 4-2-3-1 is pretty much a 4-3 in the middle there and 3 up front there. So it's pretty much a 4-3-3 anyway. Looking at Wolves, their predicted line just came from the BBC. Sa and goal, Semedo at right back, Ike Nuri at left back, and Kilman and Dawson centre backs. Midfield of Neves, Moutinho and Nunes, Pedence, Neto and Kuna as the front 3. The areas for me, this is where I think Leeds can win the game. And I think it's across the back here, outside of Ike Nuri, who I think is a smash in the left back. It's the areas here. I think Dawson can be got. I think Bamford will cause them problems. Free kicks could be something we could pick up as well. Semedo, their fullbacks are decent, but I think the centre of their defence is probably where they're at their weakest. It's not a bad side. Pedence is a cracking winger. I like him as well. And they've bags of internationals there. Kuna yet to score. And I don't think their front 3 have scored since the start of the new year. So the Leeds curse kicks in there, doesn't it? You're probably looking at them scoring straight away. But I think it's a winnable game. I think we can get at these. I think we can get at them, especially the defensive areas. I think we've got more attacking threat. This isn't my predicted lineup, by the way. This is what I think Leeds will go with. If I was to pick a team, I'd have Nanto win for Somerville. I'd probably leave the rest as it is. I think Jackie gets a bye because he got a goal and assist last week, but we need more from him. I think Bamford holds on to his place because Rodrigo's not ready for 90 minutes just yet. But yeah, I think these are the areas. This is where we win the battle. I think also at the same time, this front 3 against our fullbacks could be where we lose the game. Ayling needs to have a slightly better game than he had last week. He was okay, but he does rush in at times and get at least space behind, so that needs to be tidied up. So what's everyone feeling about this? What are we looking at here? What have we got? Someone just needs to up his work rate. Yeah, I agree on that. When we learn to pass the ball in midfield and stop panicking. I think that's just a hangover from the previous system with Jesse, where it was, non-stop boom, boom, boom football. I think there's still a learning curve in there. Luke Ayling did an interview with TalkSport today, and one of the things he said about it is that the manager is trusting them knowing the ball, that he understands these are good footballers, that they're good footballers and they can have longer on the ball if they need it. So it's a big adjustment. You go from Bielsa ball to Jesse Marsh's system to this, and the players that have been there for a bit of it kind of stuck in the middle, although that mid three, none of them were here for Bielsa, so it shouldn't be that big of an issue with them. But I think there is more trust being put in them, spend a lot more time on the ball. Gaz, Somerville needs to be side before self for sure. I agree on that, mate. On the trail, I would like to see a 4-4-2 rut up front with Rods. Rods isn't going to start. I don't see him starting yet. Maybe I could be wrong. He did say he's still managing minutes, so maybe he comes in, but I think he goes with Bamford again. Wolves on a great side at the moment, and Conway get 3 points. I hope so, Jay. Becchio, nice. Always give a great review and preview of Leeds United. It would be amazing to see you on the overlap. Oh, have you ever been invited? I actually don't know what the overlap is. I've never been invited on it. No, I don't get invited on a lot of things. I don't think everybody likes me. I don't know why. I'm probably too opinionated. Free fall and maybe Harrison in the middle with Nanto on the left. Yeah. This is a great show because I really like the idea of Brendan Aronson as a right side player. I go back to the first half against Crystal Palace at the start of the season, and it was probably the best 45 minutes of football he had at Leeds, and he nearly scored what would have been one of the goals of the season. The run he made in from the right and pass, and he hit the post in the end. I'm also not against seeing Nanto as a number 10 because he's a central player. He's a creative player. He's got a wonderful foot on a right or left foot. He can strike a ball. So maybe that's a position for Nanto to come in. I was on the American Leeds podcast during the week with Alex, and we were talking about this, and Nanto as a number 10 came up as an option, and there's possibly something in that. And things happen in 3. Paddy's Day, Leeds win, Grand Slam. Oh, Anto. Behave. Could you imagine? Pedence always seems to cause problems. He causes a lot of teams problems, guys. He does. He's a good player. Wolves have scored 20 goals all season. Did beat Leeds 2-0 at their ground the last 16 in Carabao Cup against not full strength Leeds first 11. Nanto is our best player. Why is he on the bench? I don't know. Teams were starting to figure him out maybe a little bit. He was getting doubled up on. I think what Garcia is trying to do is not basically have a Leeds setup where the starting 11 is predictable. I think that's possibly something to do with it as well. Keep teams guessing. Might be nice to take Willie out of the firing line for a couple of weeks because it was getting tougher for him, and he's a massive player off the bench, and the impact he gives and changes the game. Garcia likes to change his team with a half an hour to go and likes to change the angle of the attack. Against Southampton, we got a goal from it. He swapped Harrison from the right to the left when he brought on Somerville, and he went in, and all of a sudden it changed the attack. And if you've been attacking inside for 60 minutes, fullbacks are conditioned to then go inside. When you change it up, all of a sudden you've got wingers going outside. They can forget, they can get lost, and it can change it a bit. So I think there's an element of that in it as well. Love to see Sinister starting, but Dewey's got the fitness. I don't think he's ready yet, but I think you probably see him come off the bench with 10 or 15 minutes to go, depending how the game is going. And football has a confidence thing. Bamford and Harrison could do well. Hopefully they build on it. I really do hope they do. I really do. When I run to Rodrigo, we covered that, but yeah, it's a good question. Aronson just needs to be smarter on the ball, learn to release the ball sooner. It's a problem that him and Jackie both have. They like to carry the ball. I think if they release the ball quicker, they look more effective players, and maybe some of the heat that they get at times from me as well will be taken away from them. So scary. Win the games, others around us win. Victories make no odds. Yeah, but if we do win, we have to get points. And even a point at the weekend, if results go our way, you still move up the table, So it's just right now, but keep picking up points and keeping an eye on what's going around you. PC decided to die on me. He just managed to swap for the front part. So I'm glad to actually make it. Thanks. That's a quick swap out, me. That would take me a long time to do. On to the left, Harrison and Bamford and Aronson. On the right, probably Aronson's best. Agree. You said that. Yeah, need all to step up. Yep, need big game players this weekend. We'll never start for Wolves. If so, Rocket and McKennie will have to track back. They will. I imagine one of them will sit if that is the case. I'd like to see Rod front again, Rudder Nanto behind him as a striker. It's some exciting combinations from our attacking players if they all hit form at the same time. Wolves and Liverpool, when Wolves won, Neves was huge. He's a good player. He's a massive player. All their Neto's a smashing player as well. Take a draw from this. A win would be great, but looks like a 0-0 or 1-0. I don't see us keeping a clean sheet, but I hope I'm wrong. Nanto in front of goal would be dangerous. Swapping around with Rudder. I think he'll play Bamford and Harrison still don't. Yeah, I agree. Off to watch the Rhinos. Enjoy the game. Fingers crossed to get a good result. Playing on to the 10, Rudder on the right. I like that. Former Leeds keeper Paul Robinson has been having a go on Javi on Sky Sports. Just saying that he's got against the kids, says Robinson. Paul Robinson annoys me. I'll be really honest about this. I don't understand. He seems to speak a lot about Leeds as a Leeds legend or a Leeds insider, and he seems to be very critical of Leeds consistently. Doesn't seem to like Leeds an awful lot. And he wasn't very happy when he was at Leeds either. So I don't take a lot of what Paul Robinson says and any kind of face value. I think Nanto may be punished slightly for the reactions to being taken off in the first 2 games that Javi had him in. But at the same time, we saw Bielsa with Pablo. I've said this a couple of times, but Bielsa did it with Pablo when he took his armband off and threw it on the ground and didn't play again for, I think he started the game again for the rest of the season. Possibly, I just don't like. I think Paul Robinson's got a vendetta against Leeds, and I'm basing that just purely on my own personal opinion. I'm watching him interview him. He doesn't say anything nice about Leeds ever, really. It's not a bad thing to double up on Nanto. Should leave us a spare man if we're clever enough to figure that out. Yeah. Question is, are we clever enough to figure that one out? And I don't know. And team plays Nanto's a number 10 just behind the main forward in the national side. Nanto dovetails with the main forward using pace to press. Yeah. I think it's a smart option. I really do. Would love to see Rutter on score. I don't think he's far off a goal, to be honest. Roca scared me against Bournemouth. Second goal, Roca was lazy, not tracking Billings. Yeah, that's fair. He does give you forward direct passes quicker out of defense as well, and he does find longer range passes. There's a lot of positive about Mark Roca. If you look at his passing forward, he's in the top 3 or 4 in the Premier League with the likes of De Bruyne and that. So he does add an awful lot. I think a lot of what he does goes unseen at times, but in a more freer flowing game, maybe he's better. Joe on Just Show has talked about maybe playing Roca as a 10. I don't disagree with that either because he has got a good pass on him, but he is naturally a defensive midfielder. Could we do it scoring first, quite in the crowd presently? I think a lot of pressure would go on them, Jacob. If we do score first, that would be nice to see. Jimmy agreeing with Michael, that's nice to see. Robbo's full of it. Yes, he is, Paul. Yes, he is. Couldn't agree with you more. Diggler, how's it going, mate? I wonder what Paul Robinson thinks of Harrison. Probably thinks he's rubbish. Just going off everything Paul Robinson says about Leeds. Graham Stoner, super sticker. Graham, thanks very much for that. I really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the channel. It's very much appreciated. That's that. We're just confirming some stuff. And Enzio, think they both Brendan and Jack need to learn to look around and scan a bit more. Yeah, play with the head down. They do. We saw a documentary on Hoddle and they learned from Jimmy Greaves. I'm gonna praise Frank Lampard, and please don't come at me. I'll praise him in one sense. When he played, there are very few players who were as good at scanning than Frank Lampard are. There are videos on YouTube if you look them up on Frank Lampard scanning, and he's constantly at this throughout the whole game. It's great to see it. It's a good lesson for young midfielders to learn. Scanning is an art form, and it can really benefit teams. Danny Mills is another so-called Leeds expert. Remember when he bled the club dry? Yeah. I wasn't happy with him taking Gary Kelly's spot because I didn't think Gary Kelly was ready to have a spot taken when Danny Mills came in. But again, what do I know? All right, cool. We'll get away from this then for a second. We'll wrap up. Stop sharing. There we go. That's pretty much it. Score predictions are funny because I tend to get them wrong. Except the one time I did get it right and I didn't put any money on it, which was a shame. I don't bet much. But my head says draw. My head says 1-1, 2-2 draw. And my heart would like to see a convincing win against these. I think I was going with my heart. I'm saying 2-0 or 2-1, but Leeds love a 2-1. And when we do win, but I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. I think we need more than a 1-1 draw, but I think it's a 1-1 draw. Steve Nanto has to start from Somerville. Does the work? Yeah, he does. Troy McKennie, the 10. He doesn't have that passing range when he gets into it. That's the area where McKennie's game starts to break down a little bit. He gets a bit nervous in those areas on the edge of the box. I don't know why he does, because for me, he's a very good passer. But if we get stuck in and play like we did at Chelsea, we could pull a 1-2. Yeah, if we start the way we started at Chelsea, we could be in trouble. If that mid of the game, the 10-15 minutes before halftime, the 10-15 minutes after halftime before we conceded, if we start like that, Jesus, yeah, we've got it in us. We have a result in us. We have a performance in us. Look at how we played against Liverpool. I know it's a different system, a different manager, but when we get at teams, there is energy there, and it's good. But we were playing Rasmus on the right to support Ayling. I don't think I'll see Rasmus come in for a while. I could be very wrong. Could start at the weekend, but I don't think I'll see him come in for a bit yet. I don't think it's a bad decision. He's struggling with adapting to the Premier League. I think he'll be okay next season or the year after. I think he'll be okay, actually. But he'll have more competition. If Cody Drama can take his Luton performances and a wonder of an assist he got last night and bring that back to Leeds, and if the attitude is right, that's the big thing. 2 managers have thought that Cody wasn't ready. If he goes back and Garcia doesn't think him ready, then Rasmus has to step up. Be interesting to see. Jacob, 2-1 to Leeds for me. Good. Yeah, confident. Sorry, guys, I missed your score prediction there. Leeds and tank performance 2-1. Nice. Good to see it. Lucy Anson in the wide position with Sinister coming on. Pick up, yeah. 3-1 wins, Graham. Bold. 2-1 or 3-1 to Leeds. We're all very confident. Good. Wolves look very dangerous in the break against Newcastle. We might end up playing the mid block again to stop that. Possibly 2-1 Leeds, Bamford and Nanto. Brave. Nice. Hopefully it finally clicks this weekend. I don't think it hasn't clicked just yet. I just think we've had different systems and styles for different opposition, and I'm okay with that again as well. Yeah, 2-0 Leeds, Volbert and Meslier scoring injury time. What is Meslier doing up that end of the pitch, Jay, for 1-0 up? I like that, mate. Good one. Very nice. Anto, sorry for the caps. I didn't even notice, mate. You're okay. I just thought you were very excited. Can we do a 2-1 Leeds? Possibly. Steve Merson has gone for a Leeds loss yet again. He just says Leeds loss every week, doesn't he? Do we think Paul Merson knows that much about football anymore? I don't know. I suggest he takes more water. Yeah. I know what you're saying there as well. Go back and see Max pass. Yeah, he can't. I'm not saying he can't pass. What I'm saying is in the current Leeds setup, when he gets to the edge of the box, his passes seem to break down. Whereas the rest of the park, I think his passing's been very good. Not saying he can't pass. He can. I get that. Great stream. Oh, thanks very much. Happy Paddy's Day to everyone. Paddy's Day should be a global holiday. Enjoy it. Go and have a pint. It's a Friday as well, which is great for a change. Could Jorginho take some of his position? I don't think he'll take it just yet. Not just yet. Why get someone who's great at headers like McKennie, but have no one who can cross a ball? Gnonto can cross a ball. Gnonto's corners are pretty good. He's been pretty decent. Another reason to have him in the team. Sam Greenwood as well. I know a lot of people don't like Sam Greenwood or rate Sam Greenwood. I do. I think there's a cracking player in Sam Greenwood. I think it's starting to come out this season. I think he's a slow burner. Keep saying to people, don't be in a rush to get rid of players from Leeds. These players develop at different ages and different stages of the career. I think there's a footballer in Sam Greenwood, and I think he'll come good for somebody, and I just hope it's us. Point away to Wolves, not a bad result, depending on the results. Correct. Yeah. 23. Sorry, wrong. Very good, Robin. Very nice. 3-2 Leeds. Oh, that'd be a banger, wouldn't it? That would be a stressful game. Really stressful game. Love the badge as well. John Wallace went on my first Leeds game in 1973, all the way from. Oh wow, good stuff, man. Merson always gets it wrong. Yep. Score predictions are horrible to get right, to be fair. Sorry, I'm here in the USA biased as vice shirt. No, you're not biased. That's fact, mate. You made a very, very credible, very credible, based on fact comment, and I have no problem with that, mate. I never have a problem with being wrong. And in most cases, I'm happy to be wrong, so don't be worried about that. What's going on with this shot? Box to box midfielder McKennie, he shoots against a goal. We probably see a monster. And I keep saying that I expect McKennie to get near the edge of the box and just thump one in out of pure frustration, and I'm hoping it comes soon. Merson thinks he's not sure on the plan. I have to. Yeah, it's true. Brilliant player. But wasted a lot of his talent. We know why he wasted it. Nice, John. Ross, I agree with Sam about Sam G. He will come good. I think he will. I think he will surprise a lot of people. Hit the likes, people. Thanks very much, Trevor. Thank you. I appreciate that. With Adams out, I'd like to see Greenwood get a game. Unsure whether you replace McKennie or Rocket or play him further when he's more comfortable. I think on the right or on the left coming in, it'd be good to see him. And he adds us that set piece thing as well. He adds more set piece. I think we'll get free kicks around the edge of the box tomorrow. Oh, sorry, Saturday. Today's Thursday, isn't it? Yeah, Saturday. The overlap is Keane, Neville, and Carragher talking about football for a while. Oh, yeah. No. They deal primarily with Connor. So one Leeds fan channel, one Leeds channel. So Connor tends to be the one. It's the biggest fan channel out there at the moment for Leeds channel. So it's understandable why they ask Connor to go on to that. So I'd love to go on to it, but they'll never ask me. Are you on the Bear tomorrow, Jer? I'm on the Bear for a bit tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to see a gig in Dublin. Bicep are playing at their DJ group from Belfast. They're playing in Dublin tomorrow night. So I'm going to that. And then I'm going to a wrestling event on Saturday in Dublin. Don't tell anyone. Yeah, so I'll be on the Bear for most of the weekend. Need to go for McKennie. That won't get on. Yep, fingers crossed. Yep, and I agree with that as well. Jacob, lots of great points being made here. Tommy, great stuff as always. I appreciate that, mate. Yeah, we're going to wrap this up now. Greenwood definitely good enough. Good, this is positive. I like to see this. After press, I get the feeling Darko and Archie are pushing for places. They're definitely involved. I'd be good in the overlap. Go ask them. You go ask them to bring me on. They won't. I'm too small, but yeah. Have a superb Leeds. Appreciate that. Just on that as well. Connor does a really good job on the overlap. So, no issues there. 0% Guinness. I hope you're absolutely not. If you're drinking 0% Guinness, you're not drinking it right. I'm joking. If you're driving, drink non-alcoholic Guinness. Great weekend to be Irish. It really is. Have a great time, folks. You're all being lovely. McKennie's on a record saying he doesn't like playing. Yeah, he doesn't. So I play him there. Keep him in the midfield where he's good. Yeah, folks, that's going to be it. 36 minutes. Not a hugely long one tonight, but I will try and get back on Sunday to do a review if I get a chance. That's a busy weekend, so we'll have to see how it goes. And what I will say is I will be back tomorrow morning with the Leeds news. There's some bits in today's news as well. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's a short enough one, but I'll give you the top line there. On the Leeds news today, there was information on McKennie's potential future, possibility of Leeds not actually taking up the option to keep him permanently. Possible new kit being leaked, I should say. All the international call-ups, Rafael Guerrero linked with Leeds again, and Liam Cooper talking about his playing days and maybe starting regularly is coming to an end for him with the injuries that he's had. So go check that out if you want more detail on that. And again, as I always say, if you like the channel, if you want to support me, all I ask is a subscription. If you want to hit the sub button on that and the like and share it around, that would be great. Folks, you're all been lovely. Everyone have a really good night. I'll see you tomorrow morning for the news. I won't say have a great weekend just yet, but I'll see you tomorrow morning for the Leeds news. Mind yourselves. Have a good evening. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Thanks for dropping in. Bye.